Hey, how's it going? My name is Matt Carlson, and I am a professional wedding videographer. I have filmed hundreds of weddings and have worked alongside countless different wedding photographers. 9 out of 10 photographers are a joy to work with on wedding days, but on rare occasions, one will show up and immediately be dismissive towards you as the videographer and treat you as sort of a second-class citizen from the outset. Now, why is this? Especially if you have never even met or worked with the photographer before. I believe there are a few reasons because of this. First is the photographer has probably had a bad experience in the past with another videographer who, for whatever reason, didn't work well with the photographer. Another reason could be that most photographers have already worked with the couple before wedding day, photographing their engagement session. During this session, the photographer is typically working alone and doesn't have to share time with anyone else. So once wedding day comes and they do have to share time, this can rub them the wrong way, especially if they don't value video. And one more reason why the photographer might dislike you before you even work together is because typically they create the timeline with the bride. If the bride doesn't communicate with the photographer that they have also hired a videographer for their wedding day, then the photographer doesn't schedule any time in the timeline for video. Time can be very limited on wedding days, and you have to move quickly to capture as much content as you can. And if the photographer finds out the morning of the wedding when they arrive that there is also a videographer to share time with, then this can frustrate them because this was not their expectation. The last reason is more uncommon, but it does still happen. And that is that the photographer is just inconsiderate in general and doesn't care to share time with anyone, and also doesn't care that the bride and groom value video just as much as photo and are paying good money for both. No matter what the reason is for the videographer and photographer not getting along, the ones who suffer the most from this are the bride and groom, because the content will not be as good for them as it could be. If you are butting heads all day, or one of you is taking 90% of the time to pose the couple or wedding party, then the other person suffers. Some less experienced wedding videographers will simply film over the shoulder of the photographer all day as they pose people. This does not create dynamic looking video and is also ripping off the couple in a way because their wedding video is going to look exactly like their photos with people just standing around. Now, I have many wedding photographer friends and I always ask them, what do videographers do on wedding day that annoys you or affects the quality of your work for the couple? Just so that I can get a better understanding from their point of view and to try to avoid doing it myself. The most common complaint they have is the videographer setting up a tripod in the middle of the aisle during the ceremony as the bridal party is walking down the aisle. Why? Because the tripod is going to be in the background of all the processional photos, including the bride's. A simple fix to this is to set your tripod up off to the side of the aisle, and then after the processional, move it to the center if you must, after the photographer is done with their wide venue shots. Another complaint my photographer friends tell me is the videographer just ripping off the photographer's shots all day and not doing anything creative themselves. I touched on this earlier, but the couple is going to be more happy with their content if there is some variety between the video and photos. This can help the photographer too, as maybe it will allow them to capture something that they don't typically set up on a wedding day. It's all about teamwork, and you share the same goal, which should be getting the best possible video and photos for the couple that hired the both of you. Being considerate towards the other person, especially while they are shooting, to avoid not standing in the background of their shot, seems like common sense, but can sometimes be a problem. Or standing super close to the couple all day throughout key events is also disrespectful towards the other person shooting and can make the bride and groom uncomfortable as well. Get a zoom lens so you don't have to stand so physically close, especially during candid times that only happen once. Now, I know some people enjoy shooting on wide prime lenses, but when there's someone else working beside you, it makes it difficult for them to capture anything if you are a few feet from the couple the entire time. I personally prefer filming on a gimbal instead of a big bulky tripod so I can move around quicker and take up less space. This video is not intended to tell anyone how to specifically work as a wedding videographer or photographer. My personal style may be different from others. But at the end of the day, you are there to bring a positive experience to the bride and groom on one of their most important days. The last thing they want is for two of their vendors who are with them basically the entire day to not get along. Set your egos aside and be pleasant to work with. Word will get around in the wedding industry of your area, and no matter how good your pictures or videos are, you won't get hired nearly as much if people don't enjoy your company or if you have a sour attitude. Communication and setting expectations can help resolve a lot of wedding day problems before they occur. Hopefully this video will help the relationship between wedding videographers and photographers and make every wedding day go as smoothly as possible. Thanks a lot for watching.